I got an email from an indie developer a few weeks ago. It pitched the game called Bazaar. The premise, it is a gambling roguelite where you are essentially running a black market, trading illegal weapons on a simulated dark web. And the hook that got me click download, the developer explicitly told me to think Balatro. Now, if you haven't spent any time on this channel, you know that is the fastest way to get my attention. I have a weakness for that specific flavor of dopamine, the kind that comes with the stacking synergies, breaking the game's economy, and watching numbers go up exponentially. But here's the thing, Bazaar does not just give you a deck of cards and wish you luck. It gives you a vintage PC terminal, a sketchy warehouse floor, and an immediate crushing depth. Right out of the gate, the boss fronts you 2,500 bucks. He wants 3 grand by tomorrow. There's no hand-holding tutorial, there's no gentle ramp up. It is just you, a terminal, and a daily interest rate that is designed to spiral out of control. It is immediate panic, and honestly, I respect the bluntness. It establishes the stakes before you even understand the mechanics. So I booted up the free playtest. I wanted to see if this game has the actual mechanics to survive the current wave of Balatro clones, or if it's just another flash in the pan, trying to cash in on a trend. The core loop here is actually pretty simple on the surface, but the friction comes from how the system interlock. You sit at this sick retro CRT monitor, the aesthetic is peak, it completely nails that basement far away vibe, and the synthwave music alone carries half the atmosphere. You use the terminal to buy crates of stolen goods. You unbox them on the warehouse floor like you were playing CSGO back in 2015, and then you match the weapons you pull to specific contracts requested by a different criminal factions. But when I open up the darkbazaar.exe interface for the first time, I hit a wall immediately. I tried to buy the Mr. Freeze beer cooler crate for 900 bucks. I got an error message. You cannot just buy crates blindly. You need an active contract to even trigger a purchase. The game forces you to diversify your inventory targets from minute 1. You cannot just hoard assault rifles, you have to fulfill a market demand. So I grabbed 3 contracts to cast a white net, shotguns, and melee weapons. I bought the cooler, and the unboxing animation is great. It rolls the weapons across the screen like a slot machine, reinforcing that gambling undercurrent. My first pull was a standard pistol, a wrench, and a combat knife. I liquidated the pistol and the wrench for some quick cash to keep my money up, and I kept the knife to fulfill one of my melee contracts. Then I hit the logistic terminal, processed the shipment, and made my first real profit, $648. It felt good. The physical connection of moving inventory out and watching the balance go up is so rewarding. But that feeling lasted for about 2 minutes, because the game enforces a strict limit of 4 crates per day. Once you hit that cap, the shop closes. And by the end of the day 2, I was completely broke. I had a terrible luck on my rolls, I had 0 upgrades to scale my income, and the boss came knocking for $2,197. I had a fraction of that in my account. The run failed, game over, you got dealt with. It was a harsh reminder that in these type of games, if you aren't scaling your economy exponentially, you are already dead. Okay, so raw unboxing and praying for good RNG does not work. We needed a strategy pivot. I needed to control the variables. On the next run, I decided to go heavy on specific factions to guaranteed high payouts. I targeted a contract from Las Serpientes that specifically needed pistols. My plan was to flood my inventory with cheap sidearms and flip them for volume profit. But the RNG in this game has a sense of humor. I opened the standard military crate, looking for standard pistols. Instead, I pulled a common AK-47, an uncommon M16, and a clock. The M16 alone was worth over $2,300. I did not need it for my contract, but the sheer monetary value was a wake-up call. I realized I was playing the game wrong. You don't just hold items for contracts, you sell high-tier anomalies to build a massive cash stack early. Cash is king, cash buys more crates, which buys more chances at jackpots. So I sold the M16, I sold everything that wasn't nailed down to contract. Suddenly, I am processing bulk pistol shipments with the massive capital buffer. 5 grand here, 7 grand there. I hit the $10,000 milestone on day 1. I paid off the boss early, in full, and the game rewarded me with a diamond bonus. And that is when the scaling mechanics of Bazaar really sink their teeth in. I used those diamonds to buy an upgrade called the Rumus Resolve. It sits on your physical desk and gives a stacking payout bonus every time you fulfill a contract with the heavy weapons. Then, with my massive bankroll, I bought a stolen street safe. This is a higher tier crate, better rarity odds. I unboxed it and out popped the rare M1 Garand, worth $6,300. The pacing of the mid-game shifts drastically right here. You go from scrambling for pennies to moving massive offshore accounts. The mechanical foundation of the game opens up. You aren't just surviving, you are optimizing. The shipments get bigger, the unboxing gets faster, and the numbers start getting completely silly. I processed a rifle shipment for $24,000. I was riding high, I felt like I had solved the game's economy. Until the debt caught up. Because the interest rate isn't linear, it compounds based on your success. By level 4, the boss wanted 72 grand. By level 5, he wanted 137 grand. This is where Dark Bazaar turns from a calculated roguelite into a raw absolute panic. 10% daily interest is vicious. And if you miss a payment, it is an instant wipe. I grabbed the lucky Unigirl upgrade. It costs 4 diamonds, but its effect is mandatory for late game survival. I needed that luck desperately, because I was staring down a contract for rare SVD Dragunov that paid out over $800,000. The warehouse floor was getting visually cluttered with high-tier rifles and military hardware. I was maxing out my storage capacity at 25 weapons. I was rolling specialized crates, burning through my cash reserves, trying to find that one specific green sniper to complete the set. I hit a $500,000 payout on day 9. I cleared the level 6 depth. I felt invincible. And then, day 12 hit. The transition screen faded in and the boss dropped the hammer. $1.02 million to it tomorrow. 7 figures in 24 hours. I started a massive, frantic unboxing session. Tactical, analytical pacing was gone. It was just desperate clicks at that point. I was hunting for heavy weapons to trigger my Devruma multiplier. I was taking a massive financial penalties just to sell assets and free up storage space. I managed to clear the first $1 million debt by the skin of my teeth. But the next day, the boss demanded $1.7 million. And my starting balance for the cycle was $40,000. It was basically over. The run was dead, and I knew it. But you don't just quit. I ripped a few last stand specialized crates. I actually pulled a rare MR17, a beautiful high-value anomaly, but the payouts just were not enough. I had taken too many penalties by not paying down the principal debt early on. I let the interest snowball while I was chasing weapon synergies. The deadline hit. The boss sent the text message to the brick phone and my desk asking for $2 million bucks. I had 1.4 million. I was short by the 600 grand. The run failed. I survived 15 days on that run. My career total was $3.3 million earned. And honestly, for a game that I picked up on a whim from an email, I'm pretty happy with that. So, the $1 million question. Is Dark Bazaar the next Balatro? No, not quite. I feel like Balatro has a level of mechanical depth, a build variety, and pure systemic manipulation that makes it generational anomaly. It is a masterpiece of design. But Dark Bazaar, it is an incredibly solid game that scratches the exact same itch. A core loop of unboxing, fulfilling contracts, and watching your debt spiral out of control is deeply engaging. It is low effort on the hands, but the high engagement on the brain. The retro CRT aesthetic is awesome, consistent, and perfectly executed. It feels good to click through these menus and manage your warehouse. For a free playtest, it offers a shocking amount of replay value. The developer clearly understands the psychology behind the one more run loop. If you're a fan of roguelike genre, or if you want to experience the sheer, unfiltered panic of owning a virtual mob boss, $2 million, with 24 hours to pay him back, you need to check this out. It is definitive thumbs up from me. I will be keeping an eye on this one as it moves towards the full release. Thanks for the time. See you in the next one, and back to the grind.